Alright, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Look at this crowd. We got like 60 people in here. This is a big improvement from last time. I'm very happy to see all of you guys. Old visitors, thank you for coming back. We appreciate it. And especially the new people, I see like probably half the room wasn't here last meeting, so that's great. The growth, so let's just give it up for that growth. It's amazing. Speaking of the growth, I want to go over a couple aspects. The Instagram, sitting here 2 weeks ago, the Instagram was at about 80 followers. Now it's at over 260, so it's pretty big if you ask me. We're growing a lot. In addition, we were able to get a Chaparral Turning Point chapter over at Chaparral High School, so I've been in contact with their president, helping them get set up. And it's great to see the district is growing. We're hoping to get one at TV soon, so soon we're going to have all 3 schools in the district. We've had support from students, obviously lots of students. We've had parents supporting our account. We've had teachers following our account. We've had admin at our school following the account. And we've had people from the district office following our account. And so just the support from all aspects. I really think we're in the solid majority here. Obviously, what we stand for is very popular, as seen by the numbers. I don't see any other club on campus really doing this right now. And I'm very thankful for all the support, for all the movements and beliefs, as is my team. And with that, quick announcement. We had a treasurer when we first started this club. He's no longer with us, but it's we didn't get rid of him. He left. But it's my honor to introduce our new treasurer to y'all, Andy Martinez. Let's give it up for Andy.
Hi, my name is Indy. I'm a senior, and I'm really excited to be a part of this club. My goal is just for us all to build a better and deeper understanding on how the government and politics work through like the different lessons that we have planned and through the conversations and debates we will be having. So I'm just excited for us all to be like learning about it together.
Alright, so with that, you guys probably saw on the flyer in big bold letters, political debates. That's what we're going to be doing at the end of the meeting today. We just ask, and obviously Gabby's going to go over that on this next slide. Just be respectful, debate ideas, not people. Just be human. Remember that you're debating a human, and just be kind. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to our secretary, Gabby, to go over the expectations for the day.
So because that we'll be engaging in discussions today in like a 4 corners activity, please respect everyone who's talking, like no side conversations, interruptions, or like dismissive behavior. So don't make comments where it's like, oh, that doesn't make sense, or it's like, I don't agree with that. Like you have to think before you speak and then like wait for your turn to talk. And so you also need to listen actively, so like keep your phones away, take your AirPods out, and yeah. And you have to debate ideas, not people. So it's like just because you don't like someone or like you don't know like what they're saying, you can't say like, oh, I don't agree with you because like this is how you said it. You have to debate the idea. And finally, stay focused on the topic. So avoid tangents or off-topic comments.
Okay, so why is the First Amendment so important? Number 1, freedom of speech is a pillar of the American democracy. And then number 2, the First Amendment means that everyone, no matter who you are, can speak their mind and stand up to what we believe, all under the protection of the law.
So just simplifying that, Congress can't make laws that stop people from practicing religion, speaking freely, gathering peacefully, or asking the government to fix certain problems.
Hi guys, I'm Ariel. I just want to say thank you all to those who wore red today. So thank you. So many Supreme Court cases have defended free speech, like Gitlow versus New York, 1925. Clarified that states can't make laws that violate someone's First Amendment rights. Then we have Nationalist Socialist Party of America versus Village of Skokie that stated that even hateful speech is protected speech. Then we have Stromberg versus California. It was a woman named Yeda Stromberg, and she had a red flag outside of her youth camp, and they convicted her. And the Supreme Court decided that freedom of speech includes nonverbal expression like waving a flag. Then we have Reno versus ACLU, 1997. They clarified that there are free speech protections even on the internet.
before we debate, we're just going to preface this, get some voices heard. If you raise your hand, come up to us, get a candy bar at the end. They're full size, by the way. We're not scamming any of you guys. So the first discussion, if we can just get a raise your hands, and for a candy bar, obviously, what do you do when you hear an opinion you disagree with? Anyone, for a candy bar.
Oh, I hate that. Or something like I want to get like curious about it, like and just like see what they.
Great. All right, in the high hand raise, supreme meeting.
You know, be like respectful, you know, debate and stuff, like kind of find like common ground to be on, right? Figure out why do you think this way, and like why I disagree on it, and see if we can come to like an understanding of each other.
Okay, common ground, good one. Don't accept them. All right, we'll go back there, Stella. Yeah, I got you next sheet.
Just like try to like understand where they're coming from and their point of view before you jump to like anything judgmental. And so just like understanding why they believe what they believe and like why their opinion is that way, and like honestly see if you can kind of like just like be open-minded and have like some understanding and some compassion for their ideas.
Great, always humanizing the other side helps a lot. Oh man. All right, going to the second question. I'll get you guys. What do you think is the best way to handle disagreements in politics? Will, you, and then you.
All right, so the best way to like handle disagreements in politics is to like maybe engage in an active and respectful conversation or a debate, or just maybe just simply just say, I don't disagree with what you say, just walk away.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Just respectful, agree to disagree. Here you go.
Yeah, to add on to that, be respectful. Think if I'm gonna say this, is this gonna like, I don't know how to explain it, but is this gonna like change how they think I am? How can I respectfully disagree?
Awesome, dude. Great answers. All right, let's clap it up for that. That was good. All right, so now is the big political debates. Again, if you want to speak in these debates, you get a full-size candy bar. So I think that's a good enough reason, honestly. It's pretty good. So here's how we're going to do it. The instructions. So we're going to have a statement. It's going to be like a bland, very open statement. They're meant to debate. You're going to go into a corner. Let's see how the corners are. I think we're going to have the agrees are going to be on this side. The disagrees are going to be on this side. And if I'm wrong, just go with the flow. And then each of y'all are going to split into the corners. You're going to discuss with your group why you think that way. And at the timer, we're probably going to do a minute, 2 minutes for discussion in your groups. You're each going to have one representative who will get a candy bar. Just have the microphone in their group and represent their point of view. So it's all about active discussion, open dialogue, and really getting to know why the other side believes what they do. So with that, who's doing this first question? You, awesome. I'll hand it over to Victoria Rhodes, our Vice President.
Okay, so our first question is hate speech should be protected under the First Amendment. So like he said, please go in a corner, either over there is disagree, here is agree, over there is strongly agree, and over there is strongly disagree.
So go, your room starts now.
What distinguishes us from like the extreme people? Why are we in the strong people?
Okay, so one person from each group has to speak. So everyone designate one leader to speak for the group.
And during your group designated speaker, you can come to the front of the group in the middle of the classroom, please. The middle of the classroom. Stay your area for us. Yeah, just go in the middle. Get everybody in the middle. Alright, so we're going to start. You're going to have a point, and then a point, and then a point, and then 2 rebuttals. You can start first.
Okay, so it might be a bit controversial, but I disagree with this statement, mainly because, unfortunately, free speech does not protect you from the consequences of such speech. So hate speech is especially bad because it can cause harm to people. So for example, if I say a political opinion that might be controversial, that usually doesn't cause harm to people and we can freely debate it out. But when you actively hate on someone, that causes immense psychological and societal harm that might drive the person to like suicide or even more severe consequences, which means that hate speech in the end, it actually causes like actual harm to people and like just to your typical political opinion and stuff, which makes me think that it should not be protected under the typical free speech guidelines.
I think that hate speech can definitely be like a contrast of people. It can be hate speech to one person and hate speech to another, but it could be non-hate speech or just speech to another. So I think it's definitely more of a spectrum on what you think.
I really agree with that. So I strongly agree with this statement, and I think it's because if you say that hate speech shouldn't be, legalized, then yes, you have to decide what is hate speech. If I decide to vote Republican and I go on Twitter and I say I prefer Trump over Kamala, is that hate speech? I don't think so. But who decides that? And if you allow or if you don't allow hate speech, then the government, I'd say, gets to decide what you get to say or not. It's kind of hard to draw a line. It's very blurry. And the second thing is a lot of people say that it's negative and it's just kind of, I guess, bad in general. And the argument I have, and I understand it's an extreme argument, but when you say that you're not allowed to protest against someone like a Nazi or a pedophile, right? I feel like people hear hate speech and things like bullying online, but really disagreeing in general, I feel like could be considered hate speech, and that's why we need to legalize
Okay, so I can definitely hear what you're coming from, that the government just define hate speech as whatever it doesn't like, and like persecute people because of it, but honestly for me, I think there can be rigid definitions if we establish it. So for example, like, if I just say, oh, I hate this candidate, I want this other candidate to win, that doesn't cause any harm to the world, you're just stating a opinion. But if you're saying, oh, I hate minorities, that might like cause the society to have a negative perception of them, which causes harm due to their like lowered social standing or related consequences. Or if you say, oh, I like hate this one person and I use cyberbully them, that might even drive them into like self-harm or suicide. That causes definitive harm. So I can just say that like, if you really want to legislate on this, just say that hate speech is whatever that causes concrete harm to people, and like protected speech is anything that does not.
So if hate speech is anything that causes harm, then that would essentially be saying that like a political campaign could harm the other person, as Trump posting an ad about how you should vote for him would harm Kamala as she would get less votes. It's kind of difficult. It's not just kind of difficult, it's impossible to really set a line anywhere that people would agree with. And the other thing is, you said that we shouldn't allow hate speech because it could lead to negative effects. That's why you're allowed to say something like, I hate this person and I want them to die. However, if you say, I hate this person and I am going to kill them, that is now illegal because it's a threat. The line is, you're allowed to say whatever you want, but you cannot take action, you cannot threaten someone, you cannot promise that if you hurt someone to cause harm.
Okay, first of all, those are some really good points. Now this is the next question. Cancel culture is a way to hold other people accountable. Agree? Strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree.
So I think that cancel culture is another way. So I argue that cancel culture is Okay. I argue
it's a pretty good way to hold people, especially high-profile like celebrities, in like responsible for their actions, because it oftentimes under normal like judicial law, it's difficult for people like that to get like recompense for what they do. Although it definitely can go to an extent where it goes too far and goes into the realm of like witch hunting. So I feel like it's good when used in moderation.
Quick, do you have a rebuttal for that?
So how is it difficult to find someone guilty of a crime? I mean, we have a whole judicial system dedicated to that. I feel like someone doesn't need to be canceled once they're in jail. So if they're not convicted of a crime, they're not guilty of that crime, and they don't need to be treated as such.
Well, you could argue that, especially for people that hold a high amount of power, the judicial system is sort of rigged in their favor, and also for less severe things that might not explicitly be considered crimes, there is a degree of, like, in which they cancel culture is applicable, because like they wouldn't get actually tried for a crime, they would just, you know, like.
All right, that's gonna be it for the meeting.